Се наоѓаме во една од редакциите во Будимпешта и сега ќе поразговарам со мојот колега Петар Ердели. Mr. Erdeli, what do you think, how do you grade that Orban is protecting criminals?
Well, I think everyone here was surprised, not only that Gruevski turned out here and applied for the asylum, but we learned yesterday that he was transported to Hungary, presumably by a diplomatic car from the embassy from Tirana. Nothing ever happened here like that, so I think everyone was a bit shocked. We never knew this was going to happen.
Is it possible for someone like Gruevski, who is wanted by Interpol, to get in this country without help of Hungarian authorities?
No, I don't think so. So what we heard is that in Macedonia they revoked his passport and he wouldn't have been able to enter Hungary from outside the Schengen zone with only an ID card. So according to Hungarian law, the Minister of Interior can make an exception for anyone to enter Hungary without proper papers, but that's a political decision. So therefore, a cabinet minister had to decide, no, he can come in now. And obviously that means, politicians are involved.
Is the asylum procedure legal?
I mean, I'm not an asylum expert, but in most of the cases, the standard procedure is that if you come from the south, from Serbia mainly, there are transit zones around the border, and people are detained for the duration of their process. So people from Syria and Afghanistan and other places would come to the border to Hungary. They would enter this transit zone. It's a fenced-off, closed area, and they would stay there for weeks until their asylum claim is completely adjudicated. Here, that didn't happen. I don't know if it's illegal, but definitely it's not the norm. It's something strange. It wouldn't happen to anyone else, only allies of the prime minister. So obviously, this is not everyone is treated equal in the eye of the law.
So what do you know for Nikola Gruevski in this period of 5 or 6 days so far? What are your information?
I think we are hearing what most everyone is hearing, that no one really knows how he left Macedonia, and then he turned up in Albania, and according to the current information, he entered the Hungarian embassy in Tirana, and from there he was transported in a Hungarian car belonging to the embassy with diplomatic plates. And then he turned up in Budapest. But we only learned about this when he posted on his Facebook page that he's in Hungary and applying for the asylum. No one really knows where he has been staying since. There were rumors that he stayed in one of the downtown hotels, but that hasn't been confirmed. No one really seen him. Again, I think the government has to keep some sort of a watch over him because this is a legal proceeding. And again, if Macedonia, we know that they will want to extradite him back, and therefore, if he would be let loose in the, in the city, then
he might be fined by the Interpol.
Well, not that. I don't think Interpol is. There's no Interpol police force. Interpol is local police force. This is Hungarian police force. They wouldn't apprehend him. But if they decided to extradite him, he would just be able to leave if they didn't, keep an eye on him. But we don't know where he is.
Do you think that this case will affect Hungarian relations with the European Union?
Well, I mean, to some extent, yes. I'm sure that in the EU and in the NATO, countries don't look kindly on this. The US already made a statement yesterday, the State Department saying that Gruevski should, face justice in Macedonia. So that implied that he should be sent back. I think most of our Western allies would want him to be sent back to Macedonia. On the other hand, Prime Minister Orban has been breaking all sorts of norms within NATO and within the EU for years now. So what are they really going to do about it?
What do you think about the operation Stop Soros?
Well, I mean, I think the first instance of that really direct operation was from Macedonia, and definitely the Hungarian government seemed to have imported that from Macedonia. Listen, I think, the government uses the Soros label to put on anyone who's critical of them, and it's, it's easy to say, oh, they have some criticism. They must be from Soros. I think that Груевски and Orban sees eye to eye on this. This is their policy platform.
Is it difficult to being a journalist in this country? Is there a free media?
It's not easy, but I guess being an independent media outlet is difficult everywhere. It's more difficult here than maybe in some other Western countries. There is still free media in Hungary. The problem is that, you know, most of the TV stations, the radio stations, the regional newspapers, print media is controlled by the government either directly or indirectly. So on the internet you'll see, you know, some independent outlets. There's one independent television station, but you know, the free media space is shrinking and has been for some time.
Hungary is part of European Union. Do you see this country following up European standards in general?
I think there is some debate as to what European standards are, but
in legal context.
Listen, there is a debate about what Hungary does. There is the Article 7 proceedings in Brussels, so there's a process going on about whether what goes on in Hungary is okay or not according to European standards. But this is I think it's a political process. Even if Orban, you know, breaks the norms, what are the EU is going to do about it? They are not going to kick him out, and Orban is unlikely to leave the European Union. So I don't see a change in the Hungarian government policy in the foreseeable future. They will keep doing what they want to do, and the European Union will, you know, be upset about it, but let them do it.
And one more question, how would you rate Orban's relations with Russia and Vladimir Putin?
Out of what, in a 10 scale or what? I think he's the most friendly European prime minister of all the European, or the EU prime ministers. He's definitely the most friendly to Putin, I imagine. You know, Putin comes here twice a year, or Orban goes there, Putin comes here, but they meet twice a year at least. I think as far as international allies goes, Putin is the most important international ally, and definitely the most powerful international ally Orban has.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.